It's your girl LorenEleece, and I'm back with another video. I know you've been wondering, where the hell have I been? I mean, need I say less, honey? I went to see Beyonce. Yes, wait, run that back. I went to see Beyonce. Yes. So yes, as a brief little recap of what I've been doing, I went on down to my H-Town and I went to see my girl. But not only did I get to see my girl, I got to see Miss Megan Thee Stallion herself. Yes, Pearland stand up. Never told y'all this before, but me and Megan did go to high school together. So I was beyond happy for her. I was beyond proud of her, because it was just like, wow, like we went from here to yes, I feel like I'm on the road and whatever with her. I feel like after seeing the queens and all that stuff, like I'm in their bag, you know, like we're here. We're what I can't even do 2 fingers because of all this, but like, yeah, we were here. I did vlog my entire weekend in Houston, so I will be giving y'all a vlog video of what that trip was like. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing. I got to see my family. I have not been home in a year, so it felt wonderful to be home. It felt wonderful to go see Beyonce. I mean, it's just so many layers just wrapped up in one. So I'm back now, and I'm here to give y'all the movie that y'all been waiting for, because I told y'all I was going to give this to you, and I am late. The last movie that I actually did, Closer, it took me a long time to upload because not only that I have sound problems with it, so I ended up having to refilm the entire video, and also too trying to upload it, because like to upload, since I am filming with my Sony a7 III camera, it takes like 6-7 hours to upload without me touching my computer, without it being interrupted. And so trying to pack, all that stuff, it took me forever. So I'm so sorry that I delayed putting out the movie Closer, but we are here with our movie Charlie Wilson's War, honey. And that's another movie, Texas Stand Up, because we in this house. I can tell this video is gonna be hyped as hell, honey. Beyonce should never make me learn how to do this shit, because now that's all I do. That's all, like, when do you want it? Because I'll give it. Like, what? This is crazy. The energy is like on 1,000 today, okay? So if you've never seen any of my videos before, hey, my name is LorenEleece, and we are a community of people who watch amazing movies and have no one to watch or share it with. So I became your best friend on YouTube, where we sit here in the comments and also me through this camera lens talk all about the little details and little stuff that we missed out on the movie. So if you've never seen this movie, I want you to go ahead and exit stage left. Go ahead and get out, because this is a spoiler alert. Ring the alarm. This is a spoiler alert. Liberated like you ain't got time. Spoiler alert. Just sit on here. Bitch, you still here? Dangerously. Spoiler alert. I love my spoiler alerts. They're stupid. I love it. So the movie that we're watching is the Charlie Wilson War. This movie came out in 2007. It's featuring Tom Hanks. It has Phillip Seymour Hoffman, R.I.P. to you, my big bro. Julia Roberts, Amy Adams, and several other people that you probably noticed in the movie. Like, there was one scene where I did see Tommy from Power. I was like, Tommy with hair? What is this? Okay. This movie is about a Texas congressman who teams up with a socialite and a CIA agent to help Afghanistan fight this war against Russia. This movie is not a sad movie. This movie is a little bit upbeat, has a little bit of comedy, but it's still based on a true story. So if you haven't watched the movie, I want you to go ahead, exit stage left, and then once you've watched this movie, which you can actually watch this movie on Amazon Prime. It used to be on Netflix, but when I went back to film this, and retake notes and stuff, they actually took it off of Netflix, but it was on Netflix. But you can actually now watch this movie on Amazon Prime. But if you know anywhere else that you can watch it, make sure you put it down below in the comments, so that way all of us can try to find the free way of watching it. If not, you're going to have to spend that $4, honey, because this movie is worth it. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. First of all, the intro of this movie was fire. I'm not sure if y'all actually paid attention, because most of the time we see those graphics in the beginning for all the different gosh, what do you even call those people? all the different production houses doing their little intro. But this movie didn't start off that way. If you pay attention, you see someone from Afghanistan pulling out, like, I don't even know what you call this stuff, so I'm not a weapons expert. I don't know what half this stuff is, but hell, it looked like a bazooka, so I'm gonna call it a bazooka. And he said, "Pow in your face." I thought that was so cool. Anyways, moving forward, the first scene is Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks is playing this guy named Charlie Wilson, and he's getting an award. It's explained that he was a major help to the crumbling of the Berlin Wall. And the way this movie is filmed, it came off like with Julia Roberts. Because you see Julia Roberts sitting there and they like pan to her or whatever. And she didn't look happy. She looked pissed. Obviously, since we all watched the movie, or at least I hope you watched this movie before you came and started watching this. She looked pissed off. Almost kind of like a pissed off first lady or first wife or whatever. And then when they pan over to Amy, she looked like the side chick. And that was just like the first glance, like just off rip, right? But yes, he's getting this award, but he almost looked like he's cringing in a way. So, and then that's when it takes us back to April 6, 1980. So we're in a hotel room with a jacuzzi, and you see these naked women getting in there. Have you ever seen, number one, have you ever seen a stripper get into a hot tub with her shoes on? One, that just sounds like an accident waiting to happen, right? Your heels are already like 6-7 inches tall. So then you're getting into a very hot, water-based tub, and you're not going to slip. That just sounds like, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. That's exactly what I was only thinking in my head, like, well, please do not bust your ass getting in there. And then the second thing was, who gets into a hot tub, like literally a jacuzzi, with plastic shoes on? Even if it was an acrylic, is a jacuzzi not hot enough to melt your shoes? I mean, I just want y'all to rewind that and see if y'all paid attention to that, because I was like, what the heck is going on? So sitting there is this blonde bombshell and a guy, and they're oddly prepping how to pitch a Dallas-like show based in Washington to Charlie, whom is literally sitting directly next to them. Like, y'all didn't try to have this conversation before meeting Charlie? Even if Paul Brown planned this in his head or had everything ready for the presentation, and then, he meets up with Crystal that day, like, you still do that directly next to the person that you want to fund you? Like, that doesn't even make sense. You will want to do this beforehand, so it looks like you know what you're talking about. It seems like you know what you're doing. And then the sad part is the things that they were saying, they literally repeated it instantly to Charlie. Like, so this, we should say this is like Dallas, but based off of Washington. Oh, yeah, that's good. Hey, so we're going to be pitching a show that's like Dallas based in Washington. What? Like, where's your professionalism? And to his point, Charlie doesn't know anything about shows and movie making, so he's low-key making fun of them because they're coming off unprofessional. And they try to credit themselves, like, because Crystal was just on the cover of a Playboy magazine, so he's like, is it professional to have professional actors or whatever? She's like, well, I'm a Playboy model. Ma'am, you're not helping yourself at all. You're even though I'm not saying like to be a Playboy model at this time period wasn't huge, it still was like, if anything, you're just a model, not an actress, not someone. I've never even seen Dallas, to be honest. I know there's like board games and everything else on it, but you're not like a hardcore actress. And what was that supposed to prove? That you know how to give a blowjob on cue? So they're presenting it, but Charlie's focus is on something else, completely elsewhere. He's looking at the TV where he sees Dan Rather in a turban. Now, I've heard of Dan Rather, although Dan Rather isn't in my era of who was big and like breaking news and like CNN and all that stuff. So I've heard of Dan Rather, but I don't really know Dan Rather. But I guess in this moment, to see Dan Rather in a turban, and it's actually a special on 60 Minutes, was like, oh snap, like, and so that's where his focus was like, what the heck is going on? And what we see Dan Rather doing is he's actually talking to the Mujahideen. In case you didn't know who they were, I did do some research on what exactly they were, and they are holy warriors. I forgot the way that Charlie explained it, but pretty much the same thing. Freedom fighters, holy warriors, all that same thing. Then we have the two naked chicks. Well, actually I think everyone in the hot tub was naked themselves, but yeah, you have the two chicks that's sitting next to Charlie, and turns out their name is Stacy and Kelly, and they're strippers. So they start asking, you know, who are you, what do you do, because anybody who's at a party that's full of liquor and drugs is not paying attention to no 60 Minutes. And so that's when we find out that Charlie is a Texas congressman. So Stacy and Kelly are strippers. I'm gonna tell you now that this scene with Stacy and Kelly was actually a little bit disgusting, because when Charlie was explaining what he does for a living, he sunk down low and started to blow bubbles with coochie and penis water. That is nasty, because what I'm not gonna do is be put in my mouth, my tongue, my everything, getting a bum bump.
Hey man, is that a fucking herpy? It's a bum bump. What?
Put in my mouth and all their genitalias. I would even do it even if they were bathing suits, because who knows who's been in there, who knows who's been having with that in there. So and you always go it's smelling like diseases. It's smelling infected. So Charlie has to go to the airport, so everyone gets in the limo, and as they're riding, they're still doing the, isn't that what Lotto do? She go. Anyways, they were doing that, and they're still trying to convince him to invest into this movie show, whatever it is. So when they get to the airport, he tells them, he's like, look, I don't have $29,000 open, willing to invest into this. This is not what I do. This is not what I know. I have alimony and child support that's coming out of my account. This is how much I have. This is what I live in. I ain't paying y'all. I'm not giving y'all this money, but good luck and I will watch it. And off he went. I was curious. Was he being honest about that? Because based off the rest of the movie, maybe he has access to money, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's making the money. But then I'm like, I can't imagine you having Joanne as your woman, partially. I don't even know what type of relationship that was, but you wouldn't have her if you was just broke. I'm not buying it. You have the money, but I wouldn't want to invest in a little trash Dallas wannabe thing either. I wonder if that thing actually ever really came out. Like, I wonder, because this is based off of a true story, I want to know if it did come into fruition. Probably not. Probably not. Charlie returns to the office, and when he returns to the office, we see him being the congressman that he is. He's reading the daily news. He's putting in votes and all this other stuff. But when he goes to his office, we meet Larry Little and his daughter Jane, who is played by Emily Blunt. We see in Charlie's office that his office is staffed with just good looking women. Larry points out, you know, why is it in this office that everybody is good looking and they're all women? And his receptionist tells him, like, you can teach them to type, but you can't teach them to grow tits. So, but honestly, women are more dependable. Sorry guys, women are a little bit more dependable when it comes to organization, when it comes to handling business. Even though y'all would like to cast us as these emotional characters, which to not say we're not emotional, but we do know how to handle business, period, the end. Are we catty with one another? Absolutely. We are, period. But that doesn't mean we ain't good business people. Behind every good man is a what? Good woman. Because it's who run the world? Girls. I'm just going to be throwing Beyonce all up in this video. Whatever. Deal with it. Larry Little is actually there because he's having this problem where he wants to build a creche on at a Dairy Queen, and there's people opposing to it or whatever. I just like to know in this scene, what was with the boot on the table? I mean, was that like a power play move? Like, ha 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 ha. Like, mind you, these men are texting, you know, I'm going to put my boot on the table. No, I'm going to put on my boot on your table. I just wanted to know what that was. How dare Larry to feel comfortable to do what Charlie's doing in Charlie's office. Like, if Charlie wants to put his foot on a candy dish, Charlie can do that. That doesn't mean you can do it too just because you own some boots as well. Like, what? And in case you didn't know what a creche is a model representing the scene of Jesus Christ's birth displayed in homes or public places at Christmas. So basically the nativity scene. He wanted to put it in front of a Dairy Queen. Maybe some people who are not Christians don't want to go to Dairy Queen and see Jesus in the little manger. I'm just saying. Yeah, and I'm saying this, and I'm from Texas. Okay, just respect everybody. Dang. Get out of my office, Larry. I mean, it's really, you know, showcasing, you know, what Texas values. We value religion. We value women. We value whiskey. Because, period, yes, it was way too early to be drinking some whiskey, but, you know, as a fellow Texan, I like my whiskey too, because, period. Meanwhile, he meets with someone, I'm assuming, from the CIA, and he's asking about the efforts that's being done in Afghanistan and, you know, giving them the funding to fund this war. And, they tell him, you know, the efforts are $5 million. Charlie, feeling all big and bold, he's like, double it. And it's weird how Charlie maneuvers with his office. He just be in and out, in and out. Hold that thought, let me, all right, now hold that thought back in the, I mean, he just be in and out. And Charlie goes home, and to our surprise, and I really feel like we shouldn't have been that surprised, but to our surprise, Jane is in there. And I mean, he done took this man's daughter. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I be wondering what these old white men, kind of like Trump with Ivanka, I be wondering if they be pimping their daughters out, like, go in there and make him happy so we can get this nativity scene. You know, I just be wondering, cause so anyway, she's in there smoking a joint, and I mean, it already seemed like from when she was in the office that she was sizing up the women, like, these are just a bunch of skanks, and these are not competition. If I want him, I can get him, honey. Because I think she knew she was going to get down and dirty with him. I mean, anyways, and I love, couldn't help but singing. I was like, just call me Angel in the morning, Angel. Yes, I was like, that's my song. So while they in there trying to get all cozy and whatnot, a woman calls the phone. And this is where we find out Ms. Jane had been doing her research. She's like, I thought you was single. But what Jane doesn't know is Joanne Herring, the 6th wealthiest woman in the state of Texas. And she calls Charlie telling him, look, I'm throwing a fundraiser at my home. We're going to be watching a movie as the fundraiser. Come to Houston and be there. Or be square. Now over there in Virginia, we meet Mr. Gus Avocados. I swear I don't know how you say his name, but I swear it sounds like avocado. So we're just going to call him Mr. Avocados, okay? Gus, with the T at the end. We meet Gus at the CIA headquarters in Langley. And he's fighting with his boss for not getting a promotion, or I wouldn't say, I don't know if it was a promotion or just didn't get put onto a special project that was promised to him, which he was supposed to be the Helsinki director. And this man is pissed, honey. He's so pissed, he tells his boss to go himself. And then the crazy part is he also wants his boss to apologize to him, meaning the boss to apologize to Gus, whom he just told to go himself. Not once, not twice, but like 3 different times he told him to go himself. Like, what? Gus has been working at the CIA for the past 24 years. He was posted in Greece for 15 years. He learned for the past 3 years how to speak Finnish. He's never sick at sea. And his life is constantly threatened. So he feels like, y'all owe me this. I've put in my due diligence to be here. So therefore, what y'all gonna give me is this position. And his boss was like, nah. So since that was the case, what he do? He said, blah, 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 blah. Broke the window. Apparently was already being replaced because the last time Gus was in the office, he broke the window. So he breaks it again. And the reason why Gus is able to get away with all of this stuff is because he knows his boss is effing somebody's wife. I don't know, maybe a director or his boss is, I don't know, but he's effing somebody's wife. Somebody's. Hence why his boss will not fire him, because all that he was doing would have got him terminated. So I told you Charlie was going to that fundraiser because he ain't gonna pass that woman up. See, that's one thing about us women. When you're in the position of power, best revenge is your money, okay? The best revenge is your money. So the fact that Miss Joanne had the money, guess who was there? Charlie. Let's go into a little bio about Miss Joanne that we found out all in that. Because in these scenes of Charlie and Joanne talking to each other, we find out so much information. So instead of describing the scene, I'm going to just talk about what we learned from it, because there was a bunch of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, they're speaking to each other like we know what the hell they're talking about. So I'm gonna break it all down for you. Joanne is a Minute Woman. Don't know what that is. I didn't research it. I forgot. She's a Minute Woman. She's a direct descendant of George Washington. Apparently her great uncle was killed in the Alamo. This is all Texas. She's former Miss Cotton Bowl. Now Cotton Bowl is like the biggest like football game that goes on in Dallas. Another Texas. She had her own local television show. Like, okay, Joanne Herring, we see you. We see each other. We see each other.
Hey, y'all. While I was sitting here editing the video, I found out that Joanne Herring is still alive. She's 94 years old. You go, girl.
She's Pakistan's honorary consul in Houston, Texas. Because period. She owns a 14-bedroom house. But the crazy part is at this fundraiser she's having, part of the fundraising is selling off these 19-year-old, probably sophomore in college, you know, girls as like in like a slave-like auction. Weird. And this whole fundraiser is a video to support anti-communism. Go figure. And when she comes in, what does she do? She comes in kissing Charlie, and like she doesn't even give Bonnie any time of day. Like, she's like, go fetch me a dry martini. This is what I want. And she's like, excuse me, I am his administrative assistant. I am not your slave. And she's like, dry olives, honey. I give kudos to Bonnie for holding her cojones. But Joanne Herring, I like that a lot. And she also got those ugly race dogs. What are they called? Like greyhounds and stuff. They are ugly. It's their butt. It's something about their butt. It's scary looking. What did it look like? It looks like If y'all watch Stranger Things, Demogorgon, Demodogs, that's what they look like. They had that weird, bony, skinless ew. Don't like them. Don't like them at all. So what's currently going on in the news, which we kind of briefly got a little synopsis when Dan Rather was there on 60 Minutes. We're getting little bits of information throughout all these scenes, but that's when we really get the full thing from Joanne. And so basically the Soviet Union has invaded in Afghanistan. Joanne feels like the government isn't doing anything about it except for boycotting the Olympics. This is the greatest security threat since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know any of these things. I'm not really into politics like that, but I mean, the way she was talking about it, I was like, oh dang, this is the greatest security threat. Okay, let's take this seriously. Now, on the flip side, let's give a little bio about Charlie. Charlie is a liberal. He is a member of 2 different subcommittees. One is based off of foreign ops. Now, on the foreign ops team, there is 8 people, himself included, and they hand out $11 billion in foreign assistance. Then he's also on the defense appropriations committee. So this budget is hidden, but it's unlimited. So no one knows how much is really in there, but any number could be in there. Aha. They have meetings in a soundproof room underneath the Capitol for 3 different agencies, which is the Pentagon, the CIA, and the State Department. But all 3 of these departments help to conduct any covert war with this unlimited budget. So that guy that Charlie was talking to in his office, which was played by PJ Byrne, his character's name was Jim in it, right? So Jim, this is how he was able to have that conversation with Jim, saying, you know, double the efforts from 5 million to 10 million. Because the budget was coming from the black approach. The CIA, in Joanne's mind, is running a fake war in Afghanistan. And, you know, Joanne, if we didn't learn, and I felt like Charlie said it best, she is the Helen of Troy. So she's all about this stuff, right? So she feels like not only are they running this fake war in Afghanistan, but she's sleeping. She's clearly sleeping with Charlie to get her way with the government to get what she thinks or what she feels that they should be doing. So she's going to do it by using her coochie, and I'm here for it, honey. She's like, well, if y'all ain't going to do it, I'm going to sleep with the person who's going to get some things done. The CIA are funding the Mujahideen. The guns that they are providing the Afghanistans at this time are equivalent to, like Charlie says later in the movie, comparable to Davy Crockett's, gun, which, Davy Crockett can only shoot like 1 bullet at a time, and it's not even like a bullet. It was like some gunpowder, shove it in there, stuff it in. Like it's equivalent to that. It's not that bad, but it's bad because the helicopters that's in Russia are armored or plated with this protection on it that will block their guns. So even with them shooting at them, it ain't gonna do nothing. I don't know how they don't try to get that propeller, because that's whenever I play shooting games and there's helicopters, that's what I do. I aim right for that little part where it's going, and I get right there, that the little circle part, so it could, because if you explode that, then it'll explode the plane, and then boom, it'll fall. That's just my thoughts, okay? It's what I be seeing and thinking and stuff, but whatever. And then another thing is they gave them other weapons, but the weapons that they gave them normally come with radars, and they refuse. The CIA, for whatever reason, refuses to give the look down, shoot down radar. Why? I don't know. She said if this was a real war, Congress would have given $24 million of covert operations like they did in Nicaragua. These are wars that I'm not familiar with. These are wars clearly that are covert. And also, this is not my time period. So even if they were doing this or if it was on the news, I wouldn't have known about them. I wasn't even born. I wasn't even thought of. I was still in the womb. Nope, I wasn't even in the womb. I was still sperm. Now, this lady is crazy. She's crazy bold because this woman has been drinking martinis, okay? Drinking martinis, but over here separating her eyelashes. In case you didn't know, that's what she was doing. She's separating her eyelashes with safety pins. This woman is on a different level of crazy, okay? Crazy. I know that is like an old technique that they actually used to do. It's like an old beauty regimen or whatever, but still, like, oh, she's crazy. Real crazy. Joanne wants to end the Cold War and communists completely. By helping the Afghanistans, it's also going to crush the Soviets. Telling you, Helen of Troy. So I was actually watching this movie. Do not come at me. I know we are a community of people who don't have anybody else to watch this movie with, but I did watch this movie with somebody, and they told me that when the United States give these weapons mass destruction, allegedly, to foreign countries, they actually put trackers inside of the weapons, so in case they ever try to use it against us or try to harm the United States, we go after them. But what's even more crazy is the CIA / the government provide these guns. They provide drugs into these foreign countries. Why? Because it provides them the money for the resources that they need without us just being like, here you go. And we also teach them how to fight and everything. This also goes back into the whole, the police force being a secret gang, because who's putting all these drugs into America? Who's putting all these drugs into these inner cities if not the government? They put it into inner cities so then us kill each other, but you also have the police officers killing us too. Also, they can control us black people. I'm just saying. The two tie up together. You see that? They link. Okay. Ending the conversation, Joanne tells Charlie that I want you to help out with this war. And by doing so, the first thing I'm going to help you do, I'm putting you on a plane so that way you could go to Pakistan, where you will meet the president of Pakistan, Mohammed Zia-ul-Haq. Or Ahaq. I could be pronouncing this wrong, but y'all know who I'm talking about. President Zia. That's what she tells him to do. And he's like, I don't know if I can do this because, first of all, I was elected by Jews. And she's like, well, how many Jews you got in your district? And he's like, I only have 7, but they're not all like in Texas or something. They're all in these other places like New York, Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. And they would not feel comfortable if he's over there helping the Muslims. But Miss Joanne put her foot down, and guess where he went? To Pakistan. Question, did y'all know that the United States is the only country that has military bases in all parts of the world? Fun fact. So Charlie goes to Pakistan, and literally he embarrassed me. This is one of the things that even now, to my generation of people and to my parents' generation of people, now they're getting to be empty nesters or retirement and stuff, and they're going to all these foreign countries and stuff. We need to do our due diligence by doing the research, so that way when you go to another country, we're not over there getting locked up like that poor black woman that got locked up in Dubai because she was yelling at the cab driver or Uber driver, whatever he was, and ended up getting locked up herself. Not saying what the guy, the Uber driver, whatever, what he did was wrong and she wasn't right for yelling at him, but you can't be doing that in other countries. And that is what the hell Charlie did to me in Pakistan. He did not do his due diligence, which is so ignorant. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that not just Texas but southern people tend to do is, you know, it's like, hey, I'm country and you better take me as I is. And it's like, no. Educate yourself. Period. So he goes over there, pure ignorance for their country. And I mean, and you know what also doesn't make sense to me? You're part of the subcommittee of foreign ops. So you have some form of foreign affairs. You have some knowledge of foreign affairs, and you will go to another country and don't know proper etiquette to their own country. Like, typical Texas man. God, this is where it's like, I'm sorry. Sometimes my fellow Texans are just country and dumb. So how he showed his ignorance was he asked for whiskey, and they don't serve liquor in the presidential residence. I mean, and no one makes that mistake, because why? They do the research. Even Joanne has done the research, okay? So people are dying, tens of thousands every day. And so they're asking, why would Congress send someone who can't help them? I mean, they don't know what he is capable of. So in their mind, they're like, you're just sending over a picture-taking congressman without someone with some backing to it, someone who can actually help us. And we're not over here trying to give out no tours all the freaking time. I felt them. They didn't say that, but you know, we see each other, okay? So they talk about what he did to, you know, contribute to them, which was doubling the efforts from 5 to 10 million. And they're like, this is a joke. You trying to play us in our face. And what? Let me tell you, you will not play with us in our face. And I felt that. They was like, it's equivalent to a joke. If someone were to really do this, or the fact that you really did do this, someone would perceive that you're playing in our face. So they refuse they explain why they refuse the F-16s, because without the radars, those guns are not helpful. But then on the flip side, y'all won't give it to us to fight a war that you don't want to be in. America, you don't want to be in this war, but yet you would supply or at least sell to the Israelis the radars that we need. So to hell with y'all. I felt that in my soul. Hell with it. To hell with it. To hell with y'all. Y'all, I'm done with y'all playing in our faces. To rectify this, to give Charlie a little nudge, a little come to Jesus. Let's put it like that, Mr. Texas. To give you a little come to Jesus, I'm going to make y'all go over to these refugee camps so you can see for yourself what the hell we're dealing with. So he does. He sends them off. They go to the refugee camps. There are people getting whipped trying to get food and supplies. The Russians, these are just some of the stories that the people were telling us, telling Charlie and Bonnie while they were there. Russians, they make the parents of these children watch as they slit their children's throats. They even picked up all the wounded people and piled them up like logs or wood in the middle of the cities and ran them over with their tanks. The kids, they're playing and out in the fields and stuff, and they're seeing little shiny things, thinking it's candy, thinking it's toys, and picking up and it's bombs, exploding body parts everywhere. Not only are the kids blowing up, then you had that one mother who had a total of 6 children, but the only 2 that was still alive were 2 of them. Then lastly, it's harder to take care of wounded children than dead ones, but the people can't give their war effort, but the people are so busy tending to these wounded children, and it takes so much effort that they're not able to contribute to the war effort. Because the people who are fighting in these wars are not just like men. These are women and children who are also fighting for their freedoms. That's why they're called holy warriors or called freedom fighters, because it's just like if a community of us decide, hey, we're going to go to war. We want to fight for what's right. We don't care that we're women. We don't care that these are our children dying, because at the end we want everybody to be free, or at least our community to be free. Moving forward, Charlie, after going to the refugee camp, he goes to the embassy. And when he goes to the embassy in Pakistan, he meets with the station chief, Harold Holt. And this is literally minutes before his flight. So he's like, yo, give me a brief overview of what the heck has been going on and what can we do to help. They're talking about the weapons, in which, like I already told you before, these weapons are like comparable, as he said in this particular scene, comparable to Davy Crockett. Like the weapons are so useless that there's really not even any point to even having them. Whether we're funding it or giving it to them or whatever, it doesn't even matter because it's not helping any anyway. According to Harold Holt, if they are supplied with the proper weapons, then it will draw attention. So Charlie's like, look, I'm on defense appropriations. Like, tell me what you need. No, it'll draw attention. No, there's nothing we could do. We have people on the outside protecting people at the airports and the stores and here and da-da-da-da. But we don't have people on the inside trying to fight in this battle. So this pisses Charlie off. So he's on a flight home. He gives this story about what made him go into politics and to see how America's government work. And so after that, he says to Bonnie, he's like, look, when I touch down in DC, which will be at 7:30 a.m., I better have a CIA agent at 10 a.m. Actually, he wanted like a whole meeting with, not all of them, but you know, the head honchos. I want a meeting with somebody in affiliation to this war at 10 a.m. And if they don't, we will start deducting their allowance $1 million a minute. Flash over to Gus. So Gus is in a whole new department because when he was cussing out his boss and stuff, he went to lunch with somebody who basically told him like, hey, if you're tired of this department, we can move you upstairs where we're killing Russians. So we're now seeing Gus in his new department. And so he's getting debriefed on the war in Afghanistan. Mainly they're talking about importing of the weaponries and supplies and stuff that they need, which they're only able to use these donkeys, mules, whatever you want to call them. But they have to go through like screenings to make sure that they're not sick, so that way they're not giving it to the people. And so as he's getting debriefed on all of this, he gets the phone call that Charlie wants to meet somebody, and somebody better get here right now. Right now. Gus ends up in Charlie's office per requested. Clearly, he did his homework because he knew what to bring and to impress Charlie. Because as soon as Charlie walked in the door, he's like, I asked for the people in charge. Who is this man? And he's like, look, I'm part of the Afghan desk. You asked for me and here I am. In order to get the people you want, you got to subpoena them. You can't just be calling them into your office like you run around here. So he clearly did his homework and he brought Charlie some whiskey. He presents it in a way of, thank you for doubling your efforts in the budget, you know, going from 5 million to 10 million. Thank you so much for that. But in actuality, the bottle was wired. So, you know, so he comes in, they're talking a little bit back and forth about what's going on over there, talking about the flight, all this other stuff. Well, Bonnie comes busting in and they excuse him out. Once again, I told you, this is how Charlie's office is. He's in and out, in and out. Okay, come in. Okay, get out. Okay, now you come in. Now you get out. You know, whatever. So she comes busting in and she lets him know, like, hey, in the beginning, when you was with them strippers and when you was out there doing all that stuff, yeah, because now he's under investigation for fraud, he is ratting everybody else, including you. So therefore, since you didn't want to contribute to him, he's now accusing you of doing it while y'all was in Vegas. And here comes all the other females in the office who comes out and like, were you there? You did it, didn't you? And I'll be honest, in the first clip, they never showed Charlie doing it at all. Now, does that mean, since this is based off of a true story, does that mean that that is factual? We don't know. Clearly, he wasn't proven guilty, so we can't say he was. But in that first clip, they didn't show him doing it at all or whatever. So, Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Who knows, really? You know, allegedly. So at some point in one of these exchanges with Gus, Gus is describing his department, which is only four would be including Gus, so 3 other people in his department. And he informs Charlie that what you heard in Pakistan, 10 million is a joke. We need a minimum of $40-50 million. So, and I don't know why Gus is this way, but he is a very straightforward, very blunt person. And so he lets Charlie know, like, I also want to let you know, go ahead and subpoena the limo driver to see if he knows anything, because I was listening to you the whole time through this wire. Get over it. But I was listening to you. And so even though Charlie didn't like it, I think he appreciated, like, that this man ain't, you know, is not going to hide it or lie about it, right? Fast forward, Gus takes Charlie to meet Mike Vickers. Charlie wants to know about what weapons they need for Afghanistan. So Mike Vickers apparently had already wrote a report detailing exactly what they need. So Charlie, because of his newfound efforts into this, is the first one who's even going to read this report. No one else has even given a gosh darn. Not a gosh darn. Now, knowing what exactly that they need, or they at least have a person that will be able to tell them what they need, Charlie and Gus starts talking about it, and they're like, well, you know, Gus tells Charlie it will start a war if the Afghanistans were caught. Like, let's just say someone gets captured and they get captured with weapons. If the weapons appear or are seemingly American made, it will start an actual war. So we need to find someone who can deliver weapons that's not American made and looks like they're confiscated from the Soviet. So who can do that? The Israelis. Yet again, our budget being $40-50 million. Charlie, though, is like, I got it. Just let me know what I need. I got y'all. Didn't I say I got y'all? See, Gus and them, that's how black people do. When they say I got you, you don't ask any questions. Just appreciate what the heck you getting. But they are not equipped like this, and it's also the 1980s, so I don't know. But anyways, so he's like, look, explain to me how you got it, and no one else, including the president, can do this. So Charlie explains to Gus, the reason why is because, hello, Texas, period, gang, gang. Texas is the only district that doesn't want anything. So meaning, we want low taxes, we want our guns, you know, Texas is the biggest state outside of Alaska. So, you know, give us what we want and we'll do you a favor. As a Texan, we will also say yes to a lot of stuff. So basically, I owe you, you owe me. You do things for me and I do things for you. So you want me to vote something for you? Then you gotta do this for me. Or whatever. Woo, 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 woo. So not only is he the congressman of Texas, so people run through him, and he's been reelected a gajillion times at this point. I think he said 5 or 6 times. Not only that, he's part of the subcommittee. With the subcommittee, the defense subcommittee at that, when they have this budget that's completely unknown but unlimited. So therefore, everybody else will sit here and vote for this budget. They just don't know what it's for. And it's okay, because really, who's coming out of pocket for it? Ain't nobody but them. So all we need is your vote so it's not illegal. And then the shit gets approved. Within the subcommittee, who's the one who's going to approve Charlie, aka Texas, proposal? Is the chairman. Because for whatever reason, him and the chairman are good friends. So as long as the chairman is all in, guess what? All other 8 or 9 people are also all in. Which now we could bring it to the big people, but they don't know what it's for. So now they approve for what? $40 million, and we don't even know what it's about because it's covert. I learned so much from this movie because honestly, I had never heard of none of this stuff. I knew from Scandal that there's secret rooms and all this other stuff, but you know, to know that this is a true story, it's kind of crazy watching this movie. I learned so much, right? Anyways, that's not the point. Let's get back to the movie. So now that Gus has an understanding, he's like, so basically, out of everyone in Congress, you're the only person who could help me. And now we're about to really go into war. And all I had to know was you. So back to what we originally talked about, how we're going to get these weapons to the Afghanistans without anybody knowing. They end up meeting with Charlie's arm dealer in Israel. And he's like, so basically, you're coming to me to establish a partnership with Pakistan, Afghanistan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, all to fight this war against the Russians? Yeah, I'll do it, but you got me jacked up. Now, how you going to do this without me getting in trouble, you getting in trouble? We're also going through this through the government. So, all eyes on us. How are you going to do this? So, Gus blurts out, well, nobody's really going to even know what we're doing on the low because they're checking out Charlie with this drug case. And while they're focusing on him, we're going to be doing this stuff on the low without anybody knowing. And they do that to us. They do that to us. They do that to us in the public. They distract us with really big stories. Only to really, the real stuff that we need to focus on are those little sub stories that's all going on in the cut. You feel what I'm saying? It's funny because the arms dealer did not want to confess, like, oh, we got the weapons that you need to fuel this war, even though some of this equipment is supposed to be brand new equipment. But Gus was over here like, well, here are some pictures. I ain't saying you do got it, but I ain't saying that you ain't got it according. These pictures right here? Yeah, honey. You got them. So now what do? They go to Cairo, i.e. Egypt, honey, yay! They're actually going to meet the defense minister, but Charlie has a little friend from back from the United States who always wanted to be a belly dancer. So she comes, and honey, she wasn't doing no traditional belly dancing, honey, because if they would have asked me to go out there and do a little belly dancing, trust me, honey, it wouldn't have been no belly dancing. It would have been a little bit of twerking. Maybe with a little side 2-step. Because period. But that girl was beautiful. I mean, she had that dark hair and blue eyes. Oof. That stuff be standing out. It'd be like, woo! Anyways, I am not gay. The woman is distracting the defense of ministry. They're actually going to be speaking to the deputy because he's the one who's going to be able to transport the weapons from Israel over to Afghanistan by way of Egypt. So from Israel, i.e. the Jews, to Cairo, which is the Muslims, to the Afghanistans. I mean... It's like a whole... On the flight home, Gus actually speaks to Charlie about Joanne, and he raises awareness with him of, you know, we're dealing with a lot of different religions. We're dealing with Jewish. We're dealing with Muslims. We're dealing with Christians. She need to chill out with all the religion talk, because you're going to offend one of these groups, and right now they're willing to support us for the greater good, but that don't mean they like each other. And the moment that you cross us, or the moment that we get offended, we're going to have some beef. So in order to cool that down, she needs to chill with the religion talk. And we already know she's from Texas. What? We're from the Bible Belt. What does that mean? I.e., we are full-on Christians down there. We are low-key Baptists out there. Not even low-key, probably high-key, but I'm just letting you know we're Pentecostal, we're Baptists. Hell, we're even Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, we go to church on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, skip Friday, Saturday, and back up there on Sunday, all 3 services. That is just what we do. So that's why Joanne need to chill the hell out. You know, she talk to her, holler at her. But Charlie was going to be seeing her anyway right away, because as soon as he landed, he actually went over to Houston, where they were doing a dinner to honor President Zia. While at the dinner, Charlie is talking to President Zia, and he is giving him the update. Look, we're going to help you. We're going to fund you. We're going to get you the weapons that you need to take down the Russians. But I'm giving you a disclaimer. You know, the Israelis are providing the weapons. Egypt is providing the transportation to get them to you. So I need you to get with it too, because if you want this help, this is the only way you're going to get it. If you want help from America, at least, you know. And so he's like, all right, cool, but don't you dare have any of those Star of Davids on my crates, because in public I still want to seem like enemies. Thank you for helping us, but, you know, let's keep this on the hush hush, wink wink, low low. You know what I'm saying? Don't be telling everybody we cool now. And so Charlie's like, yo, wow, okay, you know, because if I got any little deeper, I'm going to be, you know, also this close to violating the Logan Act. So I also did my research on what is the Logan Act. So the Logan Act, it's illegal for us U.S. citizens to engage in unauthorized diplomacy with foreign intent to influence the measures or conduct of a foreign government or to defeat of the United States. So, yeah, any much further, scooped him right up in that federal prison, okay, because he was pushing it. And then here comes this heifer Joanne. Oh, Joanne.
You know, when she's sleeping, just take a pillow and...
She gonna come out in her introduction and says President Zia did not kill Bhutto. Are you dumb? I thought Charlie was the only idiot in the beginning there. I was like, oh, he didn't do his research. How dare he? Woo woo woo, wah wah wah. But then Joanne showed her ass with this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't even know what the hell, who or what they were talking about Bhutto. But, she did explain, technically, he didn't kill Bhutto. However, though, because she is Christian and they are Muslim, she was riding a fine line. So therefore, chill out. Just as my daddy would say, simmer it down. Simmer it down. And that's exactly what Charlie told her to do. At first she was like, I'm Christian to the death of me, you know. Good old Christian Southern belle. But, you know, once he described to her, well, since you passed the baton to me, this is how I pass the baton to get what the hell you want and what I want. This is what had to be done. And she's like, oh. You know? But now the final puzzle piece. We meet Doc Long, whom they didn't say where he was from. Actually, let me look that up right now. His actual name is Clarence Long, and he is from Maryland. But the way he was talking, I mean, you would have thought he was from Texas or something, because he was acting just like us Texas folk, which is, you know, to be all about religion and praise be to God. I would just like to say I am very much a Christian woman myself, but you know, I'm just describing his personality in the movie, and that's what his personality was. And he's very hesitant on funding anything for the Afghans because their views are different from American views as well. So it's like, yeah, do I want communism? No, but the people we're also trying to help fight this war, we don't get along with them much either. No judgment, by the way. No judgment. But he's a church-going Christian. So once Charlie was like, oh, he's a church-going Christian, let me use religion anyway. So he calls good old Joanne and was like, hey, use your Christian magic on that man so he could be on board, because he's the last puzzle to this puzzle piece. And she did. She said, in exchange, there's a blind woman in jail, and she's in jail because she was the R word. I can't say that word apparently on YouTube, so you ain't gonna get me in trouble. So they're gonna get President Zia to pardon her. Now I don't know who, what, or why this blind woman was in jail for those reasons, but it is what it was. Okay. Meanwhile, while we're tying up loose ends with the war, on Charlie's behalf, they did subpoena not just his limo driver, but all the limo drivers within a certain radius or who was commuting back and forth. And so far, no one has seen Charlie do anything. See, this is why I was like, did he really do anything? Because maybe he didn't, maybe he did. Now they're celebrating. They're celebrating that they got all the pieces to the puzzle all tied in together. And in order to work the religion magic, the Christian magic that Joanne had to do on Doc Long, they're now all going to go over to the refugee camp and present him what is, you know, give him that tearjerker. Let's not even beat around the bush. That's what it was. It was a tearjerker. Let's bring him over here, make him feel, you know, a little bit bad, and we'll reel him in. Reel him in. Meanwhile, he gets a phone call at this celebration saying that he's off. The whole charges that he had against him about doing in the United States, they're gone away because no one can say that they are a witness to seeing him do it. However, though, this is Gus' first time meeting Joanne, and I just thought, like, the way he acted was very disgusting. The reason why I say that is because first he goes up to Joanne and he's trying to tell her, you know, hey, when you go over here, you got dressed a certain way, you got to speak a certain way. And she's like, honey, I've been doing this for the past 3 years. I got this, boo-boo. May have messed up at the daggum speech thing and the intro and all that stuff, but I got this. We're good over here. But I think the type of woman she is, no matter how high level she is, no matter how high her money is, she flaunts what it is that she can use. She's going to use what she needs to use to get what she wants. And he noticed that about her to the point that he even propositioned to sleep with her. Like, excuse your old big beer belly Billy Goat looking ass trying to flirt with all of this, and you ain't. Why? Because you CIA? I think not, sir. But it's funny because then as soon as she walked off, she looks at Charlie's people and was like, skanks, all of you skanks. Or did she say sluts? They take Doc Long to the refugee camp, and Joanne is, pushing the agenda along, which is to get him on their side. And she does. She uses what I feel like some Christians, mainly Southern Christians, the Bible Belt Christians, they have a God complex. So she was like, you need to give the people a speech, because they came here because of you. They've been waiting for you to bless them. You are the ones that they've been praying for. See, it's all God complex. And he fell for it. He fell for it because that's what he likes. So he gives this speech like, I don't even know what the heck he said. It was just dumb. Doc is able to give this God fuel speech. Okay. Now, it takes some time before the war can really get going, but it takes from 1986 to about 1988 for them to get properly trained, for them to get the weapons, for them to get the radars, before they finally start shooting down the helicopters. And, I mean, this is back and forth for like a year. Like, I think it was silent for a year, and then for like the next 2 years, that's when it got ramped up. But in order for it to get ramped up, they had to keep increasing the budget. So they went from 5 million to 500 million, which, like we were talking about with Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Egypt, we didn't really understand what Saudi Arabia did, but Saudi Arabia was actually helping fund with the finances as well. So that's where Saudi Arabia came in, and they matched what America was giving. So America was giving 500 million, and Saudi Arabia was also giving 500 million, which is how they came up with $1 billion to fund this war. And so they've kind of sped this part along of them finally eventually winning. But during this time, Joanne has gotten married to who? We don't know the man. Still flirting with Charlie and kissing him and whatnot. And Charlie gets reelected. And the crazy part is Doc Long was no longer the chairman of this subcommittee. So Gus was actually a little bit nervous, like, who's going to constantly keep saying yes to the funding? And it turns out the person who was replacing Doc Long was John Murtagh, whom actually John Murtagh voted for Charlie. So it all worked out in the end. And the war finally ended. I don't know the exact date that the war ended, but I do know it was close to April 14th, 1988. So they have this huge party because the Cold War ended. This helped with the Berlin Wall. Like, all this stuff happened all because Charlie Wilson was a big component to ending everything. So as they're celebrating, Gus is standing outside on the balcony. So Charlie joins him outside. And so now that the war is over, and Charlie's like, you need to fund them some schools, you need to fund them this, you need to fund them that, like all these different things to help rebuild the country that they have helped, that they have majorly helped to tear it down, even though Russia was the start of it. But let's not be confused that all these guns of mass destruction and everything else wasn't also contributing to people's lives probably getting lost, the destroying of their buildings and cities and all this other stuff. Gus gives a lesson about a boy, a Zen master, and a horse. Now, I'm not going to go over that with you because we already saw that in the movie. But the moral of the story, we as people are prone to jump to conclusions, whether it's something good or something bad. Anything that happens to us, like, oh, yay that happened, or no, that's a bad thing that this happened. But the thing is, even though we're so quick to label it, the reality is that anything can happen. Sometimes you can look at things as a negative, or you can look at things as a positive, and sometimes it's just it's just life. And that's basically the moral of the story, is life is going to life, and try not to, because you don't know what negative things may actually be a blessing, and you just didn't know it was a blessing in hindsight. You could tell that somehow that lesson did get into Charlie, and he does in the next board meeting try to ask for only $1 million. These people just gave $500 million or $1 billion to fund destroying countries. But when Charlie asks for them to fund $1 million to build a school or reconstruct a school, they say no and say, oh, well, we shouldn't have to, and blah, 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 blah. So yet again, we were able to help fund this war. But when it came to the aftermath of the war and making sure things are in place, we fumbled the ball. We didn't care. There wasn't even the same amount of people in the board meeting as it was when they were talking about war. So we see the beginning is now at the end, where Charlie is getting the highest honor. And they end the movie with this quote saying, these things happened. They were glorious and they changed the world, and then we fucked up the end game. And that was quoted by Charlie Wilson. And it was crazy watching this movie because, I'm not saying that this war is the reason why certain other things happen, but what would have happened if we funded giving them, schoolings, helping them rebuild, giving them jobs? What could have happened? Because ironically, at this time, by the time the war ended, it was very, 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 very close to the 1990s. And we also know what happened starting in 1990s. The first Twin Tower attacks. And then not even 10 years later from that, then 9/11 happens. So it's like, if we would just help these people out. I'm not saying that that's the solution. None of us know what the solution is because we're not in the government, right? But it makes you just wonder if we have been just as instrumental as destroying and I mean, mind you, these are children. Like, a lot of their parents had already died, so these are a lot of children who were, or teenagers, fighting in that war. So, they're growing up angry, and they also don't know America is the one that helped them. This was a covert war. So they don't know who all pulled together to get them the stuff that they needed, because we couldn't compromise ourselves. So they're growing up angry at us, probably even blaming us that we didn't help them in this war, into which this is why things are the way they are. Could that have led to what happened in 9/11? I mean, if you're a conspiracy theorist, then you're going to probably say, oh, it was a setup by the government. And I'm not saying it's not. It's actually funny, though, because after this movie, I did do my research, and I actually saw that they were going to add in at the very end the tie between what happened in this war and what happened in 9/11. And I didn't even know this before thinking it myself, because they kind of just left that little cliffhanger a little bit to make you just think about it and all that stuff. But Tom Hanks did not like the ending of this movie, so he fought against that particular, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a scene. I don't know if it was just like some clips that they were going to add at the end. I don't know what it is, but he fought for that to not be in the movie. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So what did you guys think? I mean, I thought this movie I thought it was good, you know what I'm saying? I thought, it was fun. Yes, it was still, I'm really trying my hardest to not find war movies, but I mean, I just can't help that all my good movies are all war movies. But this movie I felt was really good, and it was fun. It was funny. I love the scene with Gus cussing out his boss. That was probably my favorite scene in this entire movie. So tell me what your guys' favorite scene was, and what did you think of the movie? Did you like it? I felt like it was very informative. I did love it. Yet again, it's based off a true story. I am sorry to you guys that you had to pay for it. Like, it was on Netflix, but by the time I got to filming it, they already taken it off. So I'm so sorry about that. But I think it was a great movie. Now, I tried not to get another Tom Hanks movie because we just watched The Terminal, which was also a Tom Hanks movie, but I just couldn't help it. I just thought this was such a great movie, and because I thought it was still on Netflix, I even more so was trying to watch it because I wanted to do it before it got removed. But I thought it was a good movie. I won't say it was a great movie, but I thought it was a really good movie. So that's it for this episode of Wait, Run That Back? I like it with the fan. It's cute, right? I should get a fan that said, wait, run that back? It has like a little VCR and then maybe like, I don't know, like a rewind button or WRTB, honey. Yes, like we need to get some things made. Yes, I can't wait till this channel grows even bigger. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me in this movie. If you want to follow me on any of my social media platforms, whether it be IG, TikTok, Twitter, you can find me at LorenEleece. And I want you to go ahead and go down into the comments, and I want you to let me know that you watched this movie by putting up this emoji. Yes, we are going to be using that Texas emoji. Gang, gang. Ow. So yes, go ahead and put this emoji in my comments to let me know that you loved and watched this movie. Or, well, not just watch this movie, but also you watched this video that's talking about the movie. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time for our next movie, which is going to be The Imitation Game. In case you've never heard of The Imitation Game, you can watch this movie on Netflix. Hopefully, by the time I actually film this video, hopefully you can. But The Imitation Game came out in 2014. This has the guy from Doctor Strange. His real name is Benedict Cumberbatch. And it has Keira Knightley and some other people that we already know. But yeah, this movie came out in 2014. We are going to be watching this. I don't know when we're going to actually be posting because I'm trying to figure out what my schedule is going to be now with posting. That first week I just wanted to put out content so that way that y'all can, you know, kind of get a gist of what this channel is going to be like. But now I think I'm just going to probably do one at the max, 2 movies a week. So I don't know if I'm going to post this video this week or I'm going to post it in the following week. But make sure you subscribe and ring that bell and it will let you know when I've posted a new video. I promise it's not going to take as long as Closer. I had some technical difficulties with that because my microphone went out and I had sound issues. But it's all good now. I have the video already uploaded. So I will see you guys next time. Oh wait, run that back. Bye. Call me down.